All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All You Can Eat Chelsea episode 235, the last one before the international break is over. Well, I think after today, the international break, all the international matches will be taken care of. So can't wait for, this is the last one until I think it's in March, the next international break. So yeah, man, can't wait for all of these shenanigans to stop. But yeah, this is the blockbuster one before the international, session finishes, and then obviously normal routine will resume. But this is going to be a huge one, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think I've ever had, or even when it was on Matisse's channel, I don't think Matisse's ever had this many people logged on. Hopefully everyone does come through. We've got Eunice who's going to be joining in very soon. You've got Javon, you've got CB coming up soon, and already you can see we've got Connor, who's absolutely taken over all the comment section last episode. It was all about Connor. People enjoyed him, and you guys all know who Don is. Don just had a 1 week break because international break. Everyone needs to have a bit of break, but my man Don is in the building and debuting. You guys might know him as PYS from Twitter, the news aggregator that has helped so many channels out there. 100% me, there's no doubt about that, to pump out all of these news videos on a daily. We've got Max in the building as well. Max, we'll start things off with you. My man, how you doing?
Yeah, very, very weird to be on. Obviously, I'm going to be starting a bit of YouTube soon, so weird to be on with Facecam. Obviously, I've done a lot of content in the past, playback. People have watched me on there, streams, different type of spaces and things, but yeah, man, no, good to be on. I've obviously watched this channel quite a bit, especially I love your news videos. It's weird, like you say, news aggregation. I'll tweet the news. I know what the news is, but I'll still watch you post the news and listen to the news that I've already posted. So yeah, no, it's interesting, but no, I'm glad to be on, and looking forward to it. Some big games coming up for us. So an important part of the season, always in November, December time. So yeah, looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it.
100%. Big up Eunice, my man. Eunice, I don't know if you know, that's Max, that's PYS. All the news that we pump out on our video.
Big up to you, mate. How you doing?
Good, mate. You? Good.
Good. Nice to have you boys on.
Nah, it's good. Everyone's in the building. I was just going to say, this is going to be a banger, man. I don't think we've ever had this many people on All You Can Eat Chelsea, either on this channel or on Matisse's channel when it was there. Connor, my man, how you doing? As I said, last episode, the comment section flooded with your name everywhere. They loved you. They loved your analytical view on things. I think it was a very, very good twist to the episode. Good to have you back again. How was your first experience on All You Can Eat Chelsea?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, literally, as you said, like reading through the comments, it was just lovely. So it's always nice to just receive that little bit of, just nice to read through nice messages, isn't it? It's in such a landscape of social media where it can be the complete opposite at times. When you go onto a video and you read floods of very, very nice things, positive thing. And then, literally last week, whirlwind for me, because I had the Tuesday debut on here. Then the Wednesday, I was in at Sky Studios for the entire day, filming, saw Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, did all that good stuff. So, mad week for me last week. But yeah, buzzing to be back again. And hopefully we can have another strong episode and we can see those strong comments again.
100%, man. This guy, he's moving mad with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is at a different level. Man, I just wish one day I could meet all these stars face to face. The only time I remember Chelsea came here on a post-season friendly. I don't know if you guys remember this. They played Sydney FC. Eden Hazard, Jose Mourinho. They all flew down here, and that was the one time I got to see all of these players live, like as close as I could. Which was incredible, man. Don, my man, how you doing? Yeah, that was the only time. I think Chelsea's ever been to Australia. It was back in the what's his name, man? How do I forget that guy's name? You know the player that played for Newcastle and for us as well, striker. What's his name? No, not Dembaba. Not Dembaba. The other guy.
Injury prone.
Yeah.
I can only think of the Ghanaian. Actually, Christian Atsu.
No, not Dembaba. Lloyd Remy.
Oh,
Lloyd Remy. That's the guy.
Oh, Remy.
Lloyd
Remy.
Remy started.
Why wouldn't you say QPR?
That's what I was thinking. I always think it's QPR.
I don't know why. I remember him from Newcastle days.
I remember him mainly from QPR, man.
Fair enough, man. Don, how you doing, bro? You had a nice week off. Did you get to anything? Go anywhere?
Yeah, it was good, man. I was in Paris last week. Disneyland. You know, a lot of shopping and walking around. Yeah, Disneyland was beautiful, man. I'd recommend it if you've never been. If you've got misses, if you've got kids, definitely take them. And then just been back home obviously since Friday. It's been cold, man. It's cold in London. It's so cold. But yeah, just getting it.
You just were gonna say something?
No, I've heard apparently it's gone down all the way to like 1 degree or something.
It feels like it's gonna snow. Yeah, it feels like it's gonna snow.
Hope it does. It's been ages since UK's had snow. So
what do you mean hope it does? Are you here? Are you back in Dubai?
I'm back in Dubai. Yeah, I got 30 degree here. I got blue sky.
You're bad mind, you know. I said I hope it snows, and he's not even here. Nah. I hope it doesn't.
When it snows, it's a vibe over there, man. I love when it snows in London, but it never does.
I hate it, bro. I hate it, man. They don't deal with it properly. The fucking ice.
Everything's stopped.
Yeah, I've been to London twice, right? 2009 and 2015, and I'll tell you what. The only thing I liked about that place was the football. Like, I hated everything else, man. The weather was disgusting. The amount of clothes I had to put on, and even then I felt cold, and then I got cold. Both the times I went there, I was sick. The weather's just extreme, man. It's crazy. And yeah, I won't even get to the safety part. I never, ever felt safe anywhere I went. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just felt like any moment I'm just going to get violated here. But yeah, anyway, that's for another day. Eunice, bro, we missed you, man. Last episode. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's a shame. I wanted to come onto that one and I couldn't. So I'm here. All is good. But yeah, no, personally, I'm sweet. I just can't wait for Chelsea to come back. We got one hell of a schedule, and I can't wait to play Barcelona. If I'm honest, I'm itching for that one, man. So yeah.
100%, man. 100%. I'm really, really looking forward to Chelsea starting things off again after the international break. We've got CB in the building. I told you it's stacked. It is absolutely stacked. CB,
good morning.
how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me again. How you lot doing?
Good.
What have you been drinking, bro? I've got bare energy at 10 a.m.
Oh, man, it's the morning, bro. I'm on my gym routine. We Congo smoke Nigeria, so I'm just on.
Oh, congratulations, Congo, by the way. Yeah, you were talking about this CB last episode.
We needed this one, bro.
By the way, has Congo now qualified for the World Cup? Because I'm hearing that there's another match.
Yeah.
We got to go to the Middle East and play over there, but I'll be out there, man. Eunice, you need to link up. I need to take you to a Congo game.
Where is it?
I don't even know who we're playing. I think it's Iran.
Who are you guys playing? It's
an intercontinental playoff. So yeah, DR Congo now. I'm not sure if it's been determined yet, but
so
that
it's
team, whoever
definitely
the game will go to the World Cup.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely someone from the Middle East or just someone from Asia?
It's the Middle East. I think it's the Middle East. That's what. I don't know, to be honest with you. I thought we qualified, when we won the game. And I go on Twitter and everyone's like, yeah, congratulations for the qualification.
I thought you guys qualified as well. I thought Congo qualified until I saw Said's stream, and then Said was saying, oh, now there's another match. And I'm like, wow, there's another match. That's pretty mad.
That's hilarious.
Imagine Congo goes all the way, like does all of this madness with Nigeria, and then you get beat by whoever it is.
Let's not put that in the air. Let's not put that in the air. We don't need that. That's bad vibes.
That would be a shame. That would be a shame. But anyway, that's for another time. All right, lads, let's get to the nitty gritty, as Eunice would like to say. let's take care of the international scene for the first few minutes, and then we'll ease into the fixtures. Obviously, big fixtures coming up. We'll start things off with Yunus. Let sort of Max sort of ease into. After Yunus, we'll go to Max. Yunus, I don't know if you've been watching any of the international matches. I definitely haven't. I've just been seeing some clips here and there. But some of the Chelsea boys are doing really well. Estevao Willian getting all that praise from Ancelotti on a regular. Like every other day, I open up X and there's just bare comments about Estevao Willian, you know, how important he is for Brazil and whatnot. And it's crazy. He's such a young kid and he's already one of the most important players for them. And I could see why. Obviously, we know the quality. Malo Gusto provided a couple of assists as well for France. Cucurella is doing really, really good for Spain. Reece James for England. I mean, Yunus, we could potentially have yet another World Cup champion in our ranks come next year around June, July, whenever the World Cup is. I mean, what do you reckon some of the lads and their performances in the international scene so far?
Mate, no, we will have not just one, but a couple of World Cup champions in this Chelsea team because Cole Palmer and Reece James are going to be, you know, world champions.
They're bringing it home.
What did I say?
Bringing it home, huh? Bringing it home.
Bringing it home. Look, the amount of chest and smoke we're walking with right now, we better flip and win it. But no, everyone's been doing well. This international break, I mean, Estevao is Estevao, man. He's unbelievable. And the way that he's moving. Yeah, even Mark Gu scored for Spain.
Yeah, Don's man.
That's my boy, man. That's my boy.
Man, that's right.
Satpayev scored as well.
Oh yes, Satpayev. Yes,
Satpayev scored. Everyone played really, really well, and we've come out of it without any injuries either.
Don't forget Jesse Derry hat-trick. How can you forget him, man?
Oh yes.
Yep.
Let's just make it clear because you threw Mark Gu in there. Don, that was under 21s, you know, and he didn't start. He didn't start the game against San Marino.
They all count, bro. They all count.
San Marino under 21s.
We'll cut him some slack. We'll cut Mark Gu some slack.
We'll take it, though. We'll take it. I guess it, but I just had to remind Don because we and Don have been going
at it for
a while with it. It's San Marino under 21s, isn't it? If we want to throw that in
there. It was a good goal, though.
Yeah, shout out Tyreek George for that one as well. Derry had a good one. Shimweka scored for the under 17. Since we're gonna call out the youth members and give them,
might as well just call out everyone.
Shim got a goal for the under 17s, under 19. Sorry, with Rio Nogumoa. You know, Tyreek George got his goal because if we're doing youth international football with Mark Gu in it, let's call it all around for everyone. Derry as well.
But yeah, no, it's overall a very good international break. And like for us, all of us are looking at this and going, every international break, please no one get injured, no one get hurt, everyone make it out okay. Everyone got minutes, everyone basically played good amounts, no one come out with any issues. If anything, Arsenal got a problem with Gabriel, which is, I mean, I don't think injuries are great. Do you know what I mean? That's because we play them soon. So, yeah, overall, it's been a very entertaining international break for one, because of the World Cup and the qualifying and all of that, aside from England. England as a whole, if we're going to just talk on them briefly, brilliant. I mean, the game was flat, don't get me wrong, but overall, it's just very efficient. And we know this because we had Thomas Tuchel, but it's a good vibe.
I want to just quickly ask you before I go to Max and do the rounds with the boys in regards to the international break. Yunus, what do you think about Thomas Tuchel post-match talking about the way he was in regards to Jude Bellingham, and also he talked about DJ Spence as well, the way he reacted? Me personally, I'm like, this guy is going to win it. I think England finally has someone who's bringing that authority and who doesn't care about the names, and he cares about the balance of the team and only making sure results are the only thing that speaks volume. I'm liking the way Tuchel's moving on this, because Jude Bellingham, this isn't club football, man. There's no room for sulking and moaning. You get substituted. This isn't like your Real Madrid, you know, you want to, throw your ego around. Here you represent your nation. Like, what do you think about all of this? And I think the media is really trying to hone in on, Jude and making him feel like, and Thomas Tuchel as well, making him feel uncomfortable. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, bro. Look, the media as a whole with this whole Jude Bellingham thing, it's English media being English media. This isn't new. We've seen it year after year after year, like in different variations. This isn't something that's novel. But look, what Thomas Tuchel's done and said, I fully agree. And we need a little bit of that because, look, at the end of the day, if Jude Bellingham comes off and we're playing, a qualifier where we're on the brink or something, it's an important game, or we're at tournament and we're playing and he comes off and he's upset, I get that. To an extent, I get that. All right, cool. On a personal level, cool, you want to play. But we're playing Albania in a game that doesn't matter. We're already through. Everyone's basically in second gear. And then you're coming off and you're causing a strop. Like, there's no need for it. Thomas Tuchel's completely right. Thomas Tuchel right now, people need to realize, is in a phase of discovery. He's still trying to build what team is going to be taken to the World Cup. He's still trying to look at what 11 is going to click and going to work and get the job done. And if it means having to take off a player like Jude Bellingham to then bring on players, for example, like Elliot Anderson coming on, or players that he needs to see. I've given him the benefit of the doubt. He needs to see these players. He's not just going to keep you on the pitch just for the sake because you're Jude Bellingham. Nah, drop the ego. Overall, we needed a bit of that from Southgate because Southgate was very pro name on the back, if you know what I mean. And Thomas Tuchel wants to have a system in place that with certain players that will make it work. So overall, no, look, I'm happy with Thomas Tuchel, man. He's doing well.
100%, man. Max, how you feel about some of these Chelsea boys representing the international scene? Obviously, we touched on English players, the Brazilian ones. But there are other ones as well, like obviously the ones that took a bit of break in terms of Enzo Fernandez taking a bit of break for Argentina. Moises Caicedo, I don't know whether he played for Ecuador during the international break, but there's a lot of players that are representing Chelsea that's going to be prominent figures in the World Cup next year. I mean, there could potentially be a one of the Chelsea players could end up becoming world champions again. Right now, obviously, we have Enzo Fernandez, but there could definitely be another one next year. What's your thoughts on some of these performances that you've seen in the international break so far in this break?
Yeah. This particular international break, I haven't watched too much, but I think the one that stood out for me, I think someone mentioned it in the chat as well. Gusto got 2 assists for France. I think he also had a disallowed goal as well. So, I think it's good to see him in form, but obviously he doesn't really contribute much going forward. So that's nice to see him, start to get some GA now. Obviously got the goal the other day. So, when it comes to England, always hoping that Reece doesn't get injured. He played, I think, 90 minutes when he was playing wing back for England. So, that's always scary. But, I think even you see Maresca say the other day that the reason why he doesn't get injured is also because, we don't play him up and down, up and down, up and down. There's always this discourse on X, that Maresca's not getting the best out of Reece James. But I think when it comes to Reece James, I think the management of him has been great. But some of the others, Caicedo played 90 minutes in a friendly, not really needed, but he did nearly got a ridiculous assist as well. So he kind of seems like the guy that, to be honest, I don't know how he hasn't got injured. Like, how has he not picked up injury? I tweeted out something.
Let's take a moment and pray.
Yeah, let's pray. I tweeted something the other day where he's only rested 45 minutes this season. He's played 945 out of 990 possible minutes. So, yeah, man, just pray these guys every time they go to internationals don't get injured. But the good thing is now we've come out of this one and we've survived until March. So, now is kind of the big stretch of games where we could, make or break the season really for us.
No, 100%, man. Yeah, Caicedo, some of these friendly international matches, like really, I sometimes wonder who makes these calls. I mean, is it the international FAs, and then can the players say, can I take a bit of break? Like, friendly matches for Caicedo when he's only had 45 minutes rest seems a bit odd to me. But I guess some of these players, they really want to represent the nation, and obviously get to have that chemistry as well with the national team. So I understand that with the World Cup around the corner, I'm sure they want to build as much as chemistry as possible. Connor, Max touched on Reece James playing as a wing-back for England, and obviously Enzo Maresca plays him inverted. Similarly, another player, Estevao Willian, who's a regular member for Brazil, straight away after that, everyone in the Chelsea community talks about, he needs to now start. He's a starter for Brazil. He needs to start on a regular basis for Chelsea. It seems like Enzo Maresca, even during international break, can't seem to get a break. People are always after him. How do you see the whole Reece James situation? Maresca saying, look, we've been able to keep him fit because of the lack of up and down and covering so much ground, whereas Thomas Tuchel really wants to utilize him as a wing back. I get that because he was crazy under Thomas Tuchel doing that role, but then again, he was predominantly injured as well during his tenure doing that same thing. How do you see both Reece James and Estevao in relation to what Maresca's doing, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, well, firstly, exactly what's been said with how he's been managed. I think it's been perfect. I think the thing is, like you say, with Tuchel, is he's got that bias towards Reece in the sense of that's what he's experienced with Reece before, is the brilliance that he's had in that Champions League winning run where he's playing as that wing back. And we all know he's got the skill set to do so, but keeping him fit is the priority for me, because if you can get him in the bigger games, no matter what usage you're going to get out of him, he's better to have him on the pitch than not. So firstly, I think the usage of him has been perfect. I think something that we've seen a little bit more this season, and this can sort of link towards Estevao a little bit, is rather than seeing the fullback fixed to their position, so playing as more of that inverted, like you said, playing as going into midfield and then having both of your touchline wingers hold the width. What we've seen a little bit this season when we've played a 4-3-3 is those triangles have a little bit more rotation in the wide areas. So we've seen it a little bit with Cucurella, Garnacho and Enzo, where those positions can almost rotate between the three. I see a similar thing on the right with Estevao, Cole Palmer and Reece James in terms of not only being able to occupy, because all three of them have the best relationship with a football in Chelsea, in my opinion. I think they are the three players that if you was to say who are the three most technically gifted footballers at Chelsea, that's probably your three. And those three between them can rotate between zones. They're all comfortable inside and outside the pitch. They can all operate at different depths and heights on that right-hand side. The only issue there for me would be the out of possession, because what you then miss is you've not got Neto or Malo Gusto on that right-hand side. And as much as they're quite divisive in the fan base, their out of possession work is very important to how we press, very man for man, very intense. If you take both of them away from that right-hand side and you've now got a right-hand side of Reece and Estevao, a lot of people say Estevao can work hard, and I think he can. He absolutely is. I think if anything, he, for his age and for his talent, I think he works beyond what some other players of his ilk would do. So I think that he absolutely has that. But I think especially with how we look to press, I think two of the most important players within the press are Pedro Neto and Malo Gusto. And you've seen that in big games where we've chose to go with both of them, whether that be Malo Gusto in midfield, whether that be with Gusto at right back, so that he can jump large distances, which is something we don't want Reece to do. Because as you've said, we're protecting him. We don't want him to carry those long distances. That's not just on the ball when he's overlapping. That's also off the ball, because sometimes the fullback will jump all the way onto the opposition's fullback. And that's still a large distance for Reece to be jumping up. So that's also part of that protection scheme. And a lot of the time when Gusto starts right back, that will be a big reason as to why. And if you then watch the game play out, you'll see the right back is often pushing all the way onto the opposition fullback in the press. So that's another big thing. But I really want to see Estevao and Reece build that connection, because on the ball, it can be a lot of fun. I do just think that when they play together on that right-hand side, we maybe need to tone it back a touch with the man-to-man pressing and play a little bit more zonal in order to protect the space on the right-hand side, rather than open it up to those larger distances.
Now, you know what? I've seen how Reece really enjoys playing with Estevao. He's always looking for Estevao Willian to lay the ball off to him and let him do the magic. And he's always in and around close by with Estevao. I think you're right. After this international break, quite a lot of interesting link relationships to look forward to. And I think one of them is Estevao, Willian, and Reece James. And hopefully when Cole Palmer comes in, as you said, maybe that might, intensify a lot more. Before I go to Don, someone on the live chat was saying, ask Connor his thoughts on Semenyo. Just a quick thoughts. Obviously, we saw Ornstein dropping the release clause news yesterday, 65 million. My opinion on it is, I think he's a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a little bit dubious in the sense that Bournemouth don't come up against low blocks often enough. They come up against teams that want to get at them, and then there's a lot of space, and Semenyo can do his things nicely. Not to say that if there was low blocks that Semenyo can't dribble and whatnot, but he doesn't come up against teams that naturally sit back. And I'd love to see how Semenyo would react to that. But on top of that, I don't think Chelsea will go for a player who's already more than 25 years old. I don't know how much his release cost is 65 million. I think we need to sell in order to get. But your thoughts on the player? I mean, would you want him at Chelsea?
I like him a lot. I think if the opportunity had been there this summer to go and get him before we'd made other moves, then I would have said yes. I think that now, considering we've picked up Garnacho and Gittins, who people can have their opinions on the two, but I think if you merge the two and their abilities and what they do offer together, at a much younger age, they do bring qualities that Semenyo would bring. Garnacho being that sort of off-ball runner, which is something Semenyo is very good at, sort of attacking the space in transition, as you said, not often playing against those low blocks. He's also very shot heavy, and I think that that's something that we could have done with, but with both Gittins and Garnacho are quite high volume shooters as well on that left. So I think we've kind of filled that gap already now. What I love about him is, and I think this is similar to someone like Rafinha, who had a similar sort of background of development, is he worked under someone like Marcelo Bielsa for so long that the relentlessness on not only running in behind, but also working back and sort of off the ball is so sort of developed. And then when you put him into a really attacking system at Barca, he also has that quality to do both. And now he's looking like one of the best sort of full all-round forwards for that in the world. I think Semenyo is similar in the sense he's worked under someone like Iraola, who brings that same relentlessness both on and off the ball. And he's developed that side of Semenyo really nicely. So I do think that it's all there for whichever team picks him up for it to click and to have him sort of be extremely powerful both on and off the ball. I would be shocked if Arsenal aren't all in for him. I think he suits them down to the ground.
I think Liverpool are. Liverpool are all in for him.
I did see that, but I just think it's crazy with how much they've spent in that attacking unit. And I get why they'd go for him, because I think they need more intensity off the ball in that attacking unit since they've lost Luis Diaz. So I think it would make a lot of sense for them as well. But yeah, I think Arsenal, if they'd be missing a massive trick if they didn't go for him. But all in all,
they got Madueke now.
Yeah, they do. He's more on the right. On the right.
When you look at the winger market, it's very. I don't really look at wingers these days. Obviously, knowing that we got Quenda coming in, it already shows that we need to get somebody out next summer.
Because we took them all.
Yeah, it looks like Pedro Neto will probably be the one that ends up going next season. But then it's like when you look at like Semenyo and Dye, for example, these are players that I would love to have, but I don't think we can with the wingers that are already coming in. And on top of that, I'm a bit worried now. I've got Pedro Neto PTSD because with these teams that don't face low blocks, it's very difficult to judge these players and want to bring him in. I love Semenyo. I think he's top. He's ball striking. He's just eye for goal. That's something that we are lacking. I would love to have him in the team. But then when it comes to the every week low blocks, are we gonna see this version of him that we're seeing now? I would turn to someone like Ndiaye more because I know he's more technical. So worst case scenario, he could adapt better against these low blocks and picking them apart, as opposed to someone like Semenyo, who is more of like a PMP runner,
or even like a Shirky, right? CB, like a Shirky type of a player.
Yeah, exactly. Someone pick up. Yeah, it's hard when you see this. Like, you see these players who are not facing low blocks every week, and then they've got acres of space to run into. Because Neto, for example, we all looked at Neto at Wolves like, oh, he's a top player. We'll take him any day of the week. And then you can see against these low blocks the deficiencies in his game. That's something that we haven't really seen much for Semenyo. But then it's difficult because our wage structure limits us to a point where the way the model's set up is under 25, pretty much less than 100K a week. So we have to shop in these mid-table like bubbles. We can't go for the top of the top. So then how do you judge a player that could adapt to low blocks every week and hit the ground running for us? That's what I find very difficult when I look at these players. Like, Semenyo and Diet because they're costing 70 to 80 million. So obviously, he's got 60 million release clause, if I'm not mistaken.
This is.
Go ahead, sorry,
this is why I think Eunice has said, like, we're going out there and purchasing all of these kids. Do you know what I mean? This is why Quenda, before he's become sort of somewhat of a name now, like, obviously he still is so much to develop, but this is what our scouting network's trying to do now. Try and find all of these gems in other parts of the world and not just in the Premier League, who shows immense technical quality, who's got the ability to beat their man, who's got speed, pace. They're trying to locate these players well before anyone can even, like Estevao Willian. How many of us knew about Estevao Willian a couple of seasons ago? Do you know what I mean? Like maybe Don because of Y Scout.
I did.
But how many of us?
His PR was crazy for years, to be honest with you. Like, a lot of us bought the dip and was watching Palmeiras, Brasileiro League and that for him. So, but it's hard to find. Like, for example, like I look at Quenda, for example. He's going crazy in this right now, Sporting. But before him, last season, the seasons before that was Marcus Edwards. He was unbelievable. I would have even said I would have taken Marcus Edwards. He's at Burnley. He's not really getting the opportunities that he would have. He's not really impacting the league as much as you would have expected to, based on the way he was dominating over there at Liga NOS. So then this is why I have PTSD now when I look at these players, because I don't know how we can find the right profiles that are going to adapt. I think Quenda will be a top player because he can play both flanks. He can do a wing back role as well if he's struggling to adapt further forward. He offers a wide range of things for us, isn't it? But when I look at these wingers, none of them are facing low blocks every week. So then how can I judge these players and bring them in? That's what blows my mind. Like, I would love to have Semenyo in, but then I'd be surprised if Semenyo goes 7-8 games without impacting a game or scoring. And
but the thing is, the question you've got to ask yourself though, is do you believe that Semenyo would come in and be more of a risk taker in comparison to Neto? Because Neto to me, bro, it's too limited, man. It's too predictable, bro. Like you go to a lot of games, CB. The amount of times I see Neto with space to take man on the outside, and it's just I call it a jink. It's a jink.
That's not fooling no one as well. I've never seen somebody try tricks that doesn't trick anyone so frequently, bro. It's like he's not
try tricks that doesn't trick anyone.
He don't even shoot. He crosses, like,
bro. And it's annoying because we know he's got the pace, we know he's got the power, we know he's even got the steps, right? But the problem is we don't see it consistently. We don't see it frequently. For me, I think Semenyo would be more of a risk taker in a system like this, where he's actually, looking to beat his man more often than not. Neto is scared, bro. It's like, I don't understand why. Because he should be scoring more goals. For a guy that's got a ball striking level like him, he should be scoring more goals, right? It doesn't really create enough separation because, again, he's quite predictable. By the time he moves the ball out of the way, out of his feet, the defender knows where he's going. Because every time he's going to go that side, bro. You know what I mean?
I think though, it's tactical instruction, the passiveness that comes from Neto.
Because Estevao comes on and does the exact opposite. It's not the rest of them kicking off with it.
Exactly, bro.
Thing is with the wingers.
When I was at the Spurs game, Estevao came on, bro, within 10 minutes, 2 key passes, which led to clear-cut opportunities, bro. You know what I mean? Neto did more than Neto in 10 minutes, bro.
No, but with the tactical instruction, sorry, I just want to get this in whilst it's sort of relevant, is when we're playing against these low blocks, often what people will say is like, we need to overlap a fullback. But the idea of having those inverted fullbacks, even against those low blocks, is to open up the space to get those players into 1v1s. And it does work. And a lot of the time people will they'll grab a screenshot. I see this all the time on X. Grab a screenshot of a winger facing 2 defenders where there's a help defender's got over. But often that will be where the winger, he hasn't perceived his sort of situation quick enough and got into the 1v1 as quickly as possible. And exactly what we're saying here, this is what Neto, he takes really long. He sort of, he gets the ball, takes a few touches, and then by the time that moment to actually attack his man 1v1 is there, it's already disappeared. Someone like Semenyo, he gets his first touch is proactive, and it's towards the defender to sort of engage the 1v1 before the help defender can get there. And this is something that Gittins and Estevao do for us, which Garnacho, who's not very 1v1 in my, like, he's quite poor 1v1 for me, and Neto as well is somebody who is quite poor in this aspect. So against these low blocks, it often leads to, especially because we're seeing more of Neto and Garnacho at the minute because of the out of possession reasons, when we see them 1v1 against those fullbacks, it actually ends up being worse off because they're not quick enough to get into that 1v1 duel, and they allow the help defender to come over. So that's a big thing. And I think Semenyo, to that point, he's quick to engage the 1v1 rather than allowing a help defender to double up.
Yeah, it's true, man. Everyone loves to run to that one. Oh, they get doubled up, bro. There's so many times, you're right, where they can actually go and they just take too long. You need to know what you're gonna do before you get the ball, bro. Right?
It's why Noni was so good at that. It's like, that's one thing, as frustrating as he could be once he got there, is he would 100% engage the fullback 1v1, and the help defender would barely have a chance to get there. And even if they did get there, Noni already had the momentum over them because he was already going. So by the time the help defender got there, he was away. And that's why I was quite big on Madueke last season in terms of what he could offer. And I think that, that's the difference when we're talking about the wingers in this system, especially against the low blocks.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's another thing as well with these sort of players. And when we talk about every time we're coming across slow blocks and it's hard to get past, we're not really going to be able to buy anyone from anywhere that has this issue unless they're at a big club, because those are the clubs that come across those sort of games where teams are defensive and they're just scared. So unless you're buying from Liverpool or Arsenal or Man City or these sort of teams, you're going to come across players that are like Semenyo that have a little bit more freedom because they're in teams that don't have the same issues. So we got to be realistic in terms of what to expect from players that are out there that we could buy. I don't think we're going to go and buy a winger. We've got enough. But when we're talking about targets, we need to be talking about the profile, and we need to be talking about what the player can actually do compared to, he plays in this team, they don't have the same circumstance, so we can't go near him, because Semenyo, I think, is probably better suited than Pedro Neto going forward right now. But we also see an example, like we've mentioned with Estevao, and how he has the ability to take players on. Like Don was saying, we just need more technical players. Players that are able to go and sort themselves out in tight spaces and be able to get themselves past maybe 2 or 3 players at the same time in order to create the space for themselves. And I do think that with Chelsea, we have this issue, and Connor can elaborate on this a little bit. I don't think Maresca helps himself at times. Like, there are moments where you see other big teams like Arsenal, Arsenal's probably not the best example. Man City, Liverpool before, and now they're facing issues. But where they're coming up against these sort of teams and they don't allow the opposition to just get back into shape, get back into their positions, get back. We sometimes allow themselves a little bit too much time. We rotate the ball a little bit too much. We give a little bit more time to the opposition to get back into position. And I feel like sometimes we can be a little bit more direct and a little bit more proactive. And if that happens, maybe we get something out of Pedro Neto, but he doesn't help himself either, to be honest.
The thing is, though, for me, like, what I want, because I think Con kind of touched up on it earlier in terms of the relationships that we need to build, right? Because if you guys remember last season, our left-hand side, bro, Sancho, Enzo, and Cucurella, that relationship was brilliant. The underlapping runs, you know what I mean? The little passes in behind, the little passes that Sancho used to find to Cucu or to Enzo, zip it across the box and that. Enzo got a lot of his GA from that side, a lot of good performances from that side. And that's why it was annoying when I would hear people saying, oh, Palmer, he can't play off the left. I'm like, bro, I'm seeing Enzo moving to the left, moving to the right, and he's still contributing both ways, right? And it's the same thing here where I'm looking at the relationships on the pitch. Neto has got zero relationship with Pedro, right? Pedro is a player that wants to come to the ball, link up play with guys like Estevao. Neto doesn't look to link up play with nobody, bro. I never see Neto get the ball, play it inside, make that little run to go on the outside and get it back. He doesn't play like that. Most of the time,
like give and go, just give and go. Yeah, mate.
Give and go. Like, you know, Estevao's a playmaker. Estevao comes on, he gets you playing, right? He gets people on the ball. He gives the ball to Gusto. You see that little relationship. We haven't had that relationship with Neto and Pedro, right? Neto wants to play with target men. He wants to be looking in the box, seeing someone there, whipping it in. He wants to be cutting it back. Whereas Pedro wants to be linking up and getting involved with the play and doing all of that with the likes of Estevao and that. So For me, that's why I'm looking at Maresca now. He needs to build on those relationships. I know Estevao has just come into the country and whatnot. He's 18 and that, but bro, you see the quality this kid has in the attack, right? Yes, you might be losing a bit defensively, but I'm sorry, bro. We didn't sign wing backs. Yeah, if man are gonna try to tell me now Neto has to start because he defends, bro, we signed a wing back then. You know what I mean? I want my attacker to be getting in the dangerous areas and not breaking down the attacks time and time again. I don't want to be missing out all these opportunities to be scoring goals, and then now we're calling on the kid to be saving us off the bench, and we're chasing the game. It's like, fuck's sake, there's 15 minutes left of the game, we're losing, or we need to equalize, or wherever it is. You know what I mean? I would rather get the job done with the quality we've got in attack, and then you bring the other guys on to see
be on the front foot. Be on the front foot all the time. Like don't start things off in a coward manner. Like be on the front foot. And do you know what? This is such a nice segue because all of these international talks has got me really, really bored. I want to talk about the nitty-gritty now. I want to really talk about the upcoming fixtures. Max, let's get into it, man. Burnley, Barcelona, Arsenal. These are the three fixtures that I'm looking at, and I feel three very important fixtures that could really shape up how December, January, and how this season hopefully will look like. I feel like a victory against Burnley is so, like, it's paramount, and off the back of the good work that we did just before the international break, solidified that with a victory against Burnley. Arsenal's got Spurs, North London derby happening in the upcoming weekend, so you don't know, like, anything is possible there. Get that victory against Burnley at Stamford Bridge. Barcelona, time to make a statement. Barcelona play with this high line. They've been struggling. They've been, they've been conceding quite a lot of goals, and I feel like this is the kind of opposition that might be very, very sweet for us to get that victory. And then obviously that Arsenal game, as Don said a couple of episodes ago, and I said it with him as well. Get that victory against Burnley and go to that Arsenal game in the Premier League. All nice victories set up and very close by. If Arsenal drop points against Spurs as well, then we are neck and neck, and that fixture becomes absolutely blockbuster. Max, how are you feeling moving into these fixtures after the international break? Who do you want to see? As Don said, time for Enzo Maresca to really now knuckle down and mean business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. I think with Maresca, I think the whole Maresca out shouts are ridiculous. But I think if there is a little mini period, a little patch, you could probably judge him on, especially sometimes with his game management or his particular decisions, like an Estevao, some starting lineups that we look at and we think we don't like that. Probably these three games. I think I'm a little bit worried about the Burnley game. I think that could be quite difficult. Just having Barca.
Don't be worried, man. Don't be worried, Max. Don't be worried.
It's a type of game, that if you said to me now Chelsea are going to beat Barcelona but draw or lose to Burnley, I'd say yeah. I mean, I could totally believe that. That's a Chelsea thing to do, not even just under Maresca, just historically. So it's going to be a difficult game. I also think there may be a little bit of focus on those Barca and Arsenal games, so it'd be interesting to see the lineup. Funnily enough, like if we're talking about lineups, and Estevao, who's been so good every time he comes on, I probably think that he might even start that Burnley game, and then just a prediction, he might start that Burnley game, do really well, and then Maresca might probably go with Neto and Garnacho against Barca. So I think he's such a big talking point, isn't he? But they're obviously really, really big games, but just at the moment, I think we're seeing a pattern where, especially when it's midweek and we have cups or whatever, it's there's the similar sort of teams he puts out, isn't it? Like you can almost say, right, this is the team today. We already kind of know the lineup on the weekend, so it'd be interesting to see how he manages that period of these three games.
The three games, Max: Burnley, Barcelona, Arsenal. If I was to tell you, out of these three, you can only potentially utilize Estevao twice, or you can start him twice because he is, after all, in the international duty for Brazil. Brazil, I think, are playing later on today. Whether he can back up three matches straight away, it might not be the wisest thing to do. I mean, which are the two that you'd look at to starting Estevao out of these three?
A lot of people will say Barca, but I think with the Barca game, because they play such a high line, I think it's actually a game where Neto and Gittins and Garnacho might do, probably will do really, really well, especially someone like Garnacho, his off-ball movement. So I'd probably say Burnley and Arsenal. I'd probably say Arsenal for sure, because, with the way they defend, the way they set up, I think we're going to need someone like Estevao to take the ball and kind of be that risk taker. I don't want to see Neto against Arsenal. I think he'll be pretty useless, especially, you say Neto's probably best attribute apart from running back is crossing. That's been poor this season, but historically that is his best attribute, probably crossing. And, you're going to spam cross against Arsenal. They'll eat that up all day. So I don't really see the point of Neto against Arsenal. So I'd say Burnley and Arsenal, because I can see those two being the deep blocks that we play.
Before I go to Connor, what's your prediction in these 3 games, just quickly?
I would say draw against Burnley, beat Barcelona.
Shit. I'm already angry.
Beat Barcelona, draw against Burnley, and draw against Arsenal.
Really man, shit. Connor, for me, it has to be a win against Burnley. It needs to be. I didn't wait a couple of weeks in the international break to see a draw. I can just picture it as well, man. Early kickoff. All of us are all tuned in to watch this game. And it's a mad lineup because a lot of the players have been involved in the international scene. But then again, there are quite a few players that are hopefully returning back from injury. I don't know whether they're going to be available for Burnley or not. But Connor, I can't have it any other way than a win against Burnley, man. Like, I know Max said no Maresca out, and I've never been Maresca out, but don't push me, Maresca. Like, that's got to be a win, brother. That needs to be a win.
They're pretty solid at home, though. They are decent at home. Like, they are good defensively.
Max, I'm not hearing any excuses for that game, how solid they are, and this Burnley needs to lose. That game they need to lose.
They conceded 3 goals to West Ham.
Look, it could be awkward, right? It could, but like you say, it is a game we obviously have to win. Like, Burnley have conceded quite significantly the most XG in the league. I think it's 24. I think the next most is like 17. Like, it's huge.
Oh, I like that. That's beautiful.
A lot of XG.
Yeah, this is what we got you. Stats, man. Yes.
They're also the worst defensive team from set pieces, even worse than us, because we were the worst. They've taken over. They're worse than us at that. So, and they have dropped into a back 5 against Arsenal and City. So you can expect the same against us. 5-4-1 behind the ball. Plenty of volume from us. It's going to be one of those games where you got to take your shots. You got to get your crosses into the box. It might be frustrating. You're going to get those set pieces, but you're going to have to find a way through somehow. And once you do, you can probably see out that game relatively comfortably, as long as you find that first breakthrough. So I think that, as Max says, it has the hallmarks to be a frustrator. It does, because they drop into a back 5, and these are things that we've struggled with. But I do think we'll find a way past Burnley. To go off your Estevao question, because I've been thinking about this too, the 2 big selections in these sort of next few for me are the 2 centre-backs and the 2 wingers, because I think that the full-backs more or less pick themselves. I think the midfielders pick themselves. I think Sanchez will start in goal for all 3. And I think that maybe João Pedro starts up front against Arsenal, but that's just something I've got in the back of my mind at the minute instead of Delap, just against Arsenal. But for the wingers and the centre-backs, I think it's really important to manage the minutes, because we're speaking about the likes of, as you said, the international break. We've got Estevao, who we need to keep somewhat sort of ready. And we've got, I think he'll start against Burnley, even though he might play for Brazil today. And I've seen a few people in the chat saying he might not be able to start in the next one. I think that's the sort of game you'll start him. I actually think against Arsenal, you're more likely to see Neto and Garnacho. And I know that we said about Estevao, and I love Estevao, but I do think that that's the game for me where we have to put so much more emphasis on staying in the game out of possession and really taking it to Arsenal with a high press and keeping them away from our goal and not allowing them to get ahead of steam, get lots of set pieces, get us in our own half. Because I think as soon as they pin us into our own half and start bullying us and winning those set pieces, that's when I think we're in a bit of trouble. So I think we have to take it to Arsenal in a different way to avoid that. And to do that, it's pressing a lot higher with intensity. So I think Neto and even Gusto could be really key against Arsenal. Go on.
I was just going to quickly ask you, I think you were going to get to the centre-back.
Yes,
I just realised that's actually a very important position. And as much as I've enjoyed Chalobah and Wesley Fofana, I want them to continue that pair until maybe a Buddy Shield shows a little bit more in terms of fitness and health and consistency. Right now, I want to see Chalobah and Fofana continue. And you've mentioned some really good stuff in the last episode, that how both of them aggressive, aerially strong as well. And we can play on the front foot. Defensively, we're looking a little bit more solid. But those 3 games, I can't picture Wesley Fofana playing all of those 3 games,
No. So that's what I mean when it comes to the management of them. I think that even him playing 2 back-to-back, if he was to say that he rests Burnley and he plays Barca and Arsenal, I still think that that's quite a lot to put on Wes, to have him play that much football in very constrained time. So I think what's more likely is we see Fofana and Chalobah carry on against Burnley. They keep the spot. Yeah. They play against Burnley because the first and foremost, like, yes, you can think ahead to those games, but as you said, Burnley, we've got to win the game. We have to. So I think you go in with the centre-back pairing that's been working, that's been limiting teams, and that has allowed you to dominate games. So you go in with those 2. I think against Barca, this is where it gets a bit difficult, and Maresca will, like, I think what's
we're going to see some nonsense. We're going to see some nonsense against Barca.
I think this is where we'll realise that trust is a big thing for Maresca, because what I would do against Barca is I think you need to replicate the off-ball ability, because they are very relentless with their they'll have players on the last line. They're relentless with runs in behind. So playing someone like Tosin against Barca would be very, very, like, silly, in my opinion. I would go Josh and I'd keep Chalobah in there. However, I think it's more like, and that's a big.
I get what you mean about trust. Then I get what you mean, because I don't know about giving Josh Barcelona.
Yeah, exactly.
Throwing him in the deep end. That's throwing him.
I completely agree with that. Completely.
Connor, don't you think it's Connor? Don't you think
quality for it? 100% got the quality for it, but it goes to trust. And I've got a spanner that I'd throw in there. Yeah, I reckon he starts tossing against Arsenal just for heighting them set pieces and dealing with Gabriel. And I know people look at that and think about it on paper, but we need that sort of. We need size, bro. We were talking about.
What I'll say before I just open it up to everybody else, so that you can I want to hear what you guys think about the centre backs. So, as I said, it's Josh. I'd go Josh and Chalobah against Barca, and then I would then miss the Fofana Chalobah pairing against Arsenal, and I'd actually, at that point, again, barring we need to know what's going on behind the scenes, I would like to see Wes and Badiashile against Arsenal as the pairing, because of as you said, the same thing, the height, but also to have a left footer against Arsenal, I think will be really key to break in, because their press is one of the best in the league. Their intensity. I think if we go in that game with Chalobah at left centre back, I think our build-up will be heavily stunted and we'll really struggle to play out from there. So I've gone with 3 different centre-back pairings, but a lot of it is based around keeping Wes fit for the Arsenal game and trying to manage each game expectation-wise and have the right personnel for each game. But I agree with you when you say about Tosin. I think that's what I'd do, but it's more or less guaranteed that Tosin will play one of the 3 minimum.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Oh, sorry, bro.
Oh, sorry. I'll just go to Don because he's got to go soon. Don, before I let you go, my man, tell me these upcoming 3 fixtures. We are going to be title contenders at the end of it.
Bro, for me, it's the biggest thing I'm looking at is just the centre back pairing, bro. That's my biggest problem right now. I think we just need to keep Fofana fit, bro. We need to keep him fit. We need to keep Badiashile fit for build up, for putting out fires. Fofana's so keen putting out fires for us, bro. I know people are going to look at the last 2 clean sheets we got. It was Tottenham and Wolves. But at the end of the day, bro, we've conceded against worse teams when Fofana's not there, right? He's just a guy that anytime teams want to transition on us, straight away, he's there. Yeah, he's not a liability. You can't bully him the way that teams bully, Tosin, the way that Henderson just plays the ball over the top towards Tosin because he knows 1v1 is shit, right? Where against Fulham, Josh King gets his first goal, which was disallowed. But again, it's from Tosin's side. You can't do that to Fofana, bro. Right? So he's a key player that we need. I hope he starts the Burnley game, but again, that's where I'm looking at the attack to kill these guys, so we can even take him off and hopefully even see him against Barcelona, right? Because Barcelona, bro, we need him. I know you lot are saying Josh and Chalobah and that, but bro, this is a team that like to play in a lot of large spaces, and that game's gonna be a lot of back and forth. We need someone who's comfortable to just get the ball and get us playing, and has that aerial ability as well, because bro, aerially that guy is so good, man, in the air. Every time the ball comes, he just, you know what I mean, head it out. Josh, I like Josh, but again, Fofana's better than it. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking at for me right now, man. I think we need consistency with our centre backs because that's been the major problem. You know, only Man City have scored more goals than us right now, and we haven't had Palmer, we haven't had Delap, right? I saw the other day, in fact, when I was checking all the fixtures for the weekend, right? We have 5 clean sheets, the second most, which is mad. Yeah,
mad.
We've won 4 of our last 5 games in the Prem, but you wouldn't think it because that Sunderland game felt like a kick in the teeth. Yeah. But yes, for me, it's just the centre backs, bro. That's the only way we're gonna get back in the title race. We need to keep our centre back pairing fit because with Chalobah and Tosin, we ain't getting out of the hood with those guys, bro. I'm sorry, we're not getting out of the hood with those guys, man. But I've got to go. I've got to go, boys. I've got a meeting. I'll try to go back if possible, but I've got to cut.
No problems, Don. I'll let you go, and hopefully we'll see you back soon. If not next week episode. All right, take care, Don.
Nice one, bro.
Yeah, CB, brother.
Yeah.
Upcoming fixtures. How's the mood?
I agree with. I can't lie. I'm gonna go with what Pizer said. To be honest with you, I don't know if you prefer Pizer or Max, bro. Sorry. But literally.
You're
for
not
me,
for this.
Yeah, bro, you got alter egos and that, so yeah, we have to. But as I was saying, bro, I agree with you. I just, in true Chelsea fashion, this is first week back from international break, 12:30 kickoff. We know already what this is like. Burnley away from home. Like, I obviously it sounds good. Like, let's all just put our copium in the bag and we'll sniff it together. And yeah, we're gonna win. And
sniff it together.
It would be nice to say. It would be nice to hear that, isn't it? I'll be honest with you, but I think we dropped points there. I'm not gonna lie.
Shit.
The chat, CB, the chat said I was doing a CFC Daily impression. Like, I'm being serious here. I want us to win, but I'm just scared about. You know, I think the rotation. You know.
I'm at the point in life, where listen. Sometimes you got to prepare yourself for disappointment. I'm throwing that.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah.
And then when we win, it feels even better. And then when we
so when we win, it's a bonus for you. Like exactly, when you win, it's a bonus. Didn't expect that.
That's my logic going into
it. Oh my gosh, you're celebrating against Burnley, but we know deep down what it's really like. Just let's be honest. Now, I think we beat Barcelona. I think we actually make a statement when we beat Barcelona. We haven't really had that statement Champions League win. I know Ajax was nice, but 10 men and they're in a mess right now. I think they're 4th in the Eredivisie, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure, it's a more league. We got more Barcelona. It's a more league. 4-5
maybe. The reason why I wouldn't say a Maulin is because just to touch on what Connor was saying, in terms of our defensive situation, like your ideal, I agreed with everything you said, Connor, in terms of the back line. And like obviously, I didn't even remember. I forgot the way our injuries are set up. I even forgot that we had Badiashile on our books. So you throwing him in there after that Liverpool game, I understand. But you just listed out 3 different centre back pairings for 3 different games. In what world, can you be consistent and build with that? And it's no slight on you because it makes sense what you're saying. That
I agree
is integral to our plans. You know, Barcelona and Arsenal back-to-back is very 2 intense games for us defensively, off-ball especially. I understand everything, your reasoning behind everything, but we can't build like this, bro, with 3 centre-back pairings every game. I like the fact that Fofana and Chalobah are flowing. I think for the Burnley game, they definitely should start. Fofana didn't get called up for France, so there's no excuse in terms of his sharpness. Chalobah hasn't really gotten any minutes as well. So I think for Burnley, definitely they start. Now for Barcelona, This is the issue now because Robert Lewandowski is in very good form. You know, Lamine Yamal is, if I'm not mistaken, this is his first game in England. He wants to make.
I think he's doubtful as well. I think he's doubtful. He might not. He's injured. So he's doubtful.
I think he just wanted to miss the international break. To be honest with you, I think he'll be playing.
Did you see what?
If he doesn't, to be honest.
Did you see what Cucurella said about?
Cucurella?
Yeah, but he said the same thing.
He's ducking the internationals.
Literally, I think we should handle this Barcelona team with their high line. Defensively, they are shaky. I watched the last couple of games. There is quality in that front.
Forgot about this guy, by the way. He's apparently
Disasi's back reintegrated. I knew that was going to happen. I tweeted about it a couple months ago. I think defensively, attack going forward, Barcelona are a very, very serious threat. And defensively, we need to be switched on for that one. Now, my concerns now, I know everyone's touching on the centre backs, but it's how are we now with Lavia being out? Are we going to rotate that extra man in midfield? Because obviously we've had Reece in that role. We've had Gusto who fills in that role every now and then. I think that's going to be important back to back against Arsenal and Barcelona just as much as the centre backs are. I mentioned it last week how we're a completely different team when Gusto's playing. I know a lot of people don't really like. Jean-Paul Gusto isn't really on people's good books. Like, it's weird because when Jean-Paul Gusto first came, he was like 2002 Jean-Paul, just hit records every week. He was balling, was putting him in comparing him to the best right backs in the league and all of that. I remember when there was the Poro Gusto debates. Then the second season came and he was Jean-Paul with the Mohican, either because he was trying to learn the new system. We weren't really used to him, and now he's back to the real Jean-Paul Gusto that we know. And I think this
Jean-Paul Gusto.
We haven't lost a game with Gusto in the lineup, like so. It's very important for the way we're about to play. And I know another thing that I wanted to say, I know I'm rambling a lot. I think for Arsenal, we're going to have Neto and Garnacho starting because Maresca's, when he has these like big game lineup that hasn't lost, he's going to keep playing it until they lose. So like we saw it Bayern, for example, he played the exact same lineup as PSG. They got humbled. Now because we got the result against Spurs.
Is that in Stamford Bridge, by the way, CB? Arsenal, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Barca and Arsenal both at Stamford Bridge. The both home games. So yeah, like he likes to stick with his lineup. Like so, he got his result against Spurs. I expect to see the exact same result. I don't expect to see Estevao starting. I don't expect to see maybe Badger Shaw coming in unless there's somebody who got an injured, etc. Oh yeah, we did lose against Bayern with Gusto. My mistake. But I was talking about the league, to be honest with you. But yeah, I expect to draw against Burnley. I think we beat Barcelona, and I think we get a result against Arsenal. I think Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken, they got the North London derby, which I think
they do.
Then they've got Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Then they've got Bayern.
They got mad fixtures. Yeah, they got Spurs, Bayern Munich, and Chelsea.
After us, they got Man City. So they're going to really get tested. But I think that Bayern Munich game that they have is gonna. Because I'm so happy that they conceded the goals that they conceded against Sunderland right before international break. Because the conversation was, we'll be lucky if we get a shot on target against these guys, all sorts. Now we can see these guys can concede goals. There's flaws in their game. International break is now creeping in. They're gonna have the North London derby. I expect them to win that game, to be honest with you. And then Bayern Munich comes about. Now, I just want Luis Diaz. Oh, he's suspended. My God. I just want the Bayern Munich team to just make these men run. I want
Harry
them
Kane.
to run 90 minutes straight.
Come on, Harry Kane.
Could see goals, make them second guess. And I think we can get a result against them, to be honest with you.
And Vincent Kompany as well should have something for Arsenal. But Yunus, my man, I know you've got to go as well, but I want to tell me that you see the fixtures Arsenal got coming up as well. Like, I've been wanting to be in this title conversation. We're 4 points away, Yunus. We act like a lot of the large parts of the fan base act like, we're miles away. We're not. We just need to really focus and stay on course here and show a lot more maturity. We've been showing maturity, but now show that maturity on a consistent basis. Yunus, tell me, Burnley, Barcelona, which is important as well in the Champions League, and Arsenal. This is going to be a defining week for us. Come on, Yunus, bro.
I'll be honest. So Burnley, I understand the concern. I understand how it would be very Chelsea to just drop points against Burnley. But I think Burnley are quite poor. That even on a average day or bad day for us, I still think we get a result. I think if it's anyone slightly above that relegation zone, we can have this conversation properly that Chelsea might just, slip up. But I think just like Wolves, Burnley for me are very, very close second in terms of being really, really bad, right? So I think we get a narrow result. I think it also comes down to us and wanting to kill the game early, which I think we can do, right? But that first half is going to be important.
Would you start Estevao from the beginning on that one against Burnley?
You see, okay, out of the 3 games, I would understand if Estevao doesn't start against Burnley, but he has to start the other 2, right? Has to.
It's going to be the other way around, Yunus.
No, we know that because it's Maresca. But me personally, I would want, if it meant that Estevao does play against Barcelona, does play against Arsenal, because I think he hits them with threats that they have to watch out for. We have to also put enough threat to the opposition and not just invite pressure. I feel like sometimes we do that too much. And I think against Burnley, like I said, if it was any team above that relegation zone and that mid-table sort of zone, I reckon we can have this conversation about us being caught out. I think Burnley are just poor overall. So I reckon we get a tight win against Burnley. I think we won't look great, because in these sort of games, I think we should still be able to win. I reckon we beat Barcelona, and then I reckon we go against Arsenal. I don't think if we beat Arsenal, I will be gassed beyond belief. But Arsenal, I just think even defensively are strong. I think the fact that it's at the Bridge helped us as well. If this was at the Emirates, I would have maybe a different opinion. But I reckon we beat Burnley, we beat Barca. I'm not scared of Barca. I'm more scared of Arsenal. But I agree with what CB just said. With Arsenal, I'm glad that they did drop points to Sunderland. I'm glad that they did concede the way that they did. I'm glad, like I said, I don't wish injury on anyone, but Gabriel might be out, which helps, if I'm honest. And now with their fixtures coming up, they've got a lot to think about. So this is actually technically the best time to play them. And especially if we get a result against Barcelona, hopefully we can carry that forward into Arsenal. So yeah, for me, I'm going with a narrow win against Burnley, a beaten Barca, and then a draw against Arsenal.
Ooh. And what's your prediction on the North London derby? Just quickly on that Burnley week that we're going to have.
I don't want to count on Tottenham for anything because they bottle everything whenever we ask them to do something. But I think Arsenal beat Spurs, if I'm honest. I reckon Arsenal
just
win.
Quickly as well, before I let you go, Eunice, how huge is it for Enzo Maresca as well? You see all of these really good comments from ex-players. I don't know if you saw the podcast of John Terry and John Obi Mikel and how they were reminiscing about past times. I think it was John Obi Mikel's latest podcast with John Terry. Yeah. Really, really good watch. And he used to say how Jose Mourinho instilled that hunger, that winning mentality. And if you didn't perform, he didn't even talk to you. Like people would say, "Hi, Gaffer," like he'd just walk away. Like I don't want to talk to this guy, right? How important is it for Enzo Maresca looking into this week, like Burnley, Barcelona, Arsenal, really defining week right here to launchpad something special this season? Should he be looking at it going, lads, I want this so much. You need to lock in this week. Lock in.
Yeah, we have to. Look, we got to build consistency. Like I don't doubt the quality that this Chelsea squad has. Right. I feel a lot better about the squad now than before in terms of just what it can actually do. But we just lack consistency and we get complacent sometimes and we make stupid mistakes that we shouldn't be making. We can build consistency. And this is why, going back to this whole centre-back conversation, I want us to have a pair that we can just stick with. Do you know what I mean? And for Fofana Chalobah, for example, I feel like the last two games have shown something. Right, that we can possibly move forward with. And if they're going to be able to take one person out, possibly I would incorporate Badiashile because he's shown good glimpses so far. Fofana with the international break now, I'm hoping is even more rested, even more fit, ready to go even more. Based on the games that we saw prior to the international break, hopefully now he's even stronger. We need to run with something now because chopping and changing that and also really, really heavy rotation. I get the rotation. I'm all in favor of it. But doing it too heavy, game in, game out, I think is a detriment. So Maresca needs to look at these things. But in terms of like what you just said, in terms of the example of Mourinho and how he used to operate, you can't do that in the modern game now. You just can't. Like Mourinho, for example, John Terry and those guys talking about how you lose a game that you shouldn't have lost, and then you say hello to the gaffer and he just walks past you. You'd get sacked for that now. Like they would go on Instagram and start flipping, going, the gaffer doesn't want to talk to me, he's a prick, and then the manager gets sacked. You can't operate that way now, but Maresca needs to really hone it in to these players on how important it is. And I think this is where we operate best. We don't operate well in games where we're just expected to cruise. Yeah, but exactly. In games where there's something to play for and you feel it, these players step up. We saw it against Tottenham. You know, I mean, that was unbelievable. That was beautiful. We saw it against Liverpool. These big games, we do show up, and mentally we're there. We need to do that even against the teams that we're expected to beat. And this is why this Burnley game can feel like a banana skin. Hopefully we just get a result. But I'm not doubting that we're not gonna show up in these games. I think we will. But we got to then build off that and show consistency.
We're hearing that Palmer should be back after the international break. As Maresca, how do you manage Palmer's minutes during this run in these next 3 games?
Drip feed him in. I think you bring him in off the bench first, and then you monitor the level from there. I think you've got
to be ready for Barca.
That's what I'm saying. You bring him off the bench against Burnley. You're saying then?
I don't think you can start him against Barca.
I don't think he's ready. Yeah, I don't think he's ready
for a start.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to, of course. Like, we'd all love to see him, but like, I've even seen things in the last few days that he probably won't even be ready to appear off the bench against Barca, which is like, again, it's another pushback. So it's such a weird one because we don't have much information on Palmer. Like, all we really know is the fact that it's an ongoing injury and the fact that they've thought about surgery and haven't done it. So if anything, that makes me just more wary because you just don't want it to become something that lingers throughout his career, because that would be far worse. Like, you'd rather just take the adequate time now.
I don't think he's even started team training. I think he started individual training, so he hasn't started team training yet. So whether that's going to happen over the next couple of days, who knows? Yeah, until and unless I see him back with the team training, I don't even pencil him down to feature against Burnley, which then means, how are you going to feature against Barcelona? Do you know what I mean? Like, you gotta have some
minutes, right? Games like they're keeping him a secret. Like, he might be trained because I've seen when he got his I don't know what award he won. I think it was the FIFA Pro the 11 thing. He was in the training kit. This week, 2 days ago, yesterday, he was getting a trim. Now I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist here, but you know, normally you're getting trims before the games. You know, that you're about to appear on TV, so you're getting your trims and all this. So I feel like he might have been training for a while and they've just kept it low, and then they're about to start rolling it out in the lead up to Burnley, Barca. This is Copium speaking once again. So hopefully
that could be something. He was getting more than a trim though. He was enjoying himself with that.
Yeah.
He did say it was a bit heavy though. Well, we know he doesn't like it heavy. Yunus, my man, I'm gonna let you go. I know you've got to get going. Thank you so much. We'll definitely see you next week. Hopefully, we get a nice victory against Burnley, my man.
Defo. Nice to speak to you, lads. Have a good one.
Take care.
Nice one. See you later. Take care, man. Bye.
Take care, Yunus. But yeah, Max. I don't know, because I know you speak with a lot of like the Chelsea journalists inside and whatnot. CB brings up a really good point about Cole Palmer. Is there any murmurs around, like, is he back into training? Because, yeah, it's true, though. Like, we know that some of the journalists, I think, have said that he's, I think, penciled down to come back against Barcelona, but we've not seen anything. Like, is he training? Is he not? Like, do you know? Have you heard anything at all?
No, he's not training yet. It's obviously why CB was saying with the training kit, but is they just wear that then do an individual program at Cobham. You know, he's recovering in the gym. So yeah, obviously he also wore that for the 100 appearances sort of frame that he got, so to take a picture, etc. So yeah, I think all we know at the moment is that, you know, he's targeting a Barcelona return. That would obviously mean, for that to happen, that he'd have to play some minutes, I think, against Burnley, you know. So we'll see this week whether or not he comes off, in training or anything. But yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because I do think it's, well, hopefully it's not a chronic, like, long-term problem where it's just, it doesn't really get better unless you have surgery. But that's kind of what it seems like. I always thought at the start when they didn't fully diagnose anything, but I was like, okay, so is this just going to be a long-term problem, similar to how Enzo had his hernia, you know, when he had his hernia? And I think even Maresca said, like, when he was, you know, going to be out for these 6 weeks, he was like, yeah, the idea is to rest him for 6 weeks. And then they were like, the journalists were like, well, you know, does he need surgery off? And he was like, no, but he kind of made the point of like, we don't really know whether these 6 weeks are going to fully solve everything. So, I think we'll see. Hopefully he comes back and the recovery program has been, successful, but I don't think it's fully off the table that he comes back and then is suffering again, especially with the groin. It's such a difficult place, I think, to get injured. It's a difficult injury. You've seen a few players in the past where they've suffered long term with this groin, injuries. So,
especially when it becomes a chronic thing. If it becomes, hopefully this doesn't become chronic, because it could ruin careers.
Yeah, it seemed like a chronic thing, but then they diagnosed it was I can't remember what it was, a strained groin or something like that. So, yeah, hopefully it's not chronic, but the way he was moving, especially the language that Maresca uses, where he's like, sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. Like, that is a chronic injury. Like, that's something that isn't just, oh, you've got this and you're out for this amount of time. You know what I mean? So hopefully, he's got better with this recovery program that he's been undertaking with the medical staff. I think we've got good medical staff in place now. I think Bryce Cavagna from the FA has been doing a really good job as well, from stuff that I hear behind the scenes and that. So let's hope that prevention of injury is going to keep continuing. Obviously, there's those couple of cases like Lavia where he just seems to be cooked no matter what. But Fofana is another one where he's been he's been fit for a few games now, and I think Connor and the boys make a really good point of managing him. He's not going to be able to play 3 games in a row, but it's I think it's incredible really that we've got to the point of like Reece James, where he's able to play 3 games a week if necessary. So we've done a lot better. I think the Maresca and the medical department do need credit in general, and perhaps with that being said, we can be more confident that Palmer's going to come back and be okay for a little while.
No, 100% agreed. I think there's a lot of good that they've done. Obviously, there's a few players that need to get better in terms of their health. Lavia being one of them, but he's Shield, Fofana, and so on and so forth. But CB, I know you got to go, my man. Anything that you want to, any content that's coming up, do you want to plug right now? And just to let everyone know, CB's the channel link is in the description. Make sure you guys subscribe to CB. Give him all the love. We've got 700 people live, and I know there's going to be many more that are going to watch after this as well. Make sure each and every one of you guys not just subscribe to CB, but subscribe to Max's channel. The link is in the description. Connor's channel as well. All of these guys are doing some mad things, so show them all the love. CB, what you got coming up, brother?
Thank you, bro. Thank you for the shout out as well, man. I appreciate it. For the next couple weeks, so I've been doing a lot of IRL streaming for away days. We're gonna take it to Stamford Bridge for the first time. So Arsenal and Barcelona, we're gonna be in the streets just making Chelsea great again. So if you see me out there, show some love. We're about to have some fun. I'm bringing Tyreek from Love Island to the Arsenal game. We're gonna stream that together, so that should be a little something. And then Atalanta away IRL stream, and then we're off to AFCON for a month. And yeah, man, so just trying to give the content for the people, try to keep breaking these barriers creatively, and yeah, man, having fun at the same time. Hopefully we can capture wins as well. It's the most important thing. Yeah, man, I just want to say, Connor, I tuned into you on Sky Sports last week. Top performance, man. You're representing Chelsea properly, man. Genuinely,
thank you, bro.
You do pies as well. I'm so happy that you're finally on the camera doing this, bro. Because I've been saying for the longest, bro, if you jumped on the camera and did this properly, you'll be out of it. So I'm happy, man. You're looking good as well. Pause. Big up to yourself, man. And I want to steal that frame. So anytime you want to invite me over, make sure you hide that, because I'm taking that with me, bro. But, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, man.
Big up, bro.
No problem, my man. Not a problem. Take care, CV, my man. We'll wrap things up very soon as well. But a couple of things I wanted to talk about before we wrap things up, I think quite important as well. I'll go to Connor. Connor, I'm looking at João Pedro and Liam Delap to be something very, very special after this international break. I feel like I still feel João Pedro can be a very, very very good striker, top striker, but when Cole Palmer's behind him and feeding him and making those runs and them linking up together, João Pedro is very much a link type of a player. I think we've established that throughout all of our conversations. But Liam Delap, a lot of people have, been talking down, have question marks, we've let go of Nicholas Jackson to bring in Liam Delap, and I've always said Nicholas Jackson was neither here nor there. Like, even though he had good attributes, but he was also screwing up as well. But Liam Delap is one that I felt he's the future of England, I feel, down the track. But he does need to start now showing it for Chelsea. I know he's been away injured for a while, so it takes a bit of time to sort of adapt and get that fitness back and get that rhythm back. But this international break hopefully would have done him a lot of good. And I need this guy to really be a juggernaut up front and really open up the gates for other attackers to chime in and help us. What's your thoughts on Liam Delap and perhaps João Pedro as well after this international break?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Delap. I said it when we was in for him. I think the problem with a lot of the stuff that will come around Delap and a lot of the narrative that will be formed around him is a lot of the good things he does are things that aren't really noticeable and the things that don't get the same praise, which is crazy for a striker, because a lot of people will look at that striker and they want 20 goals a season, and that's your go-to stat that you're going to look at for a centre forward. XG that they're like generating for themselves, shots and goals, and even if he's creating for others. But what he does in terms of occupying defenders is exactly what I think we missed a lot last season. Now, Jackson is very good at running in behind, and that's something Delap can do as well. And I think that that's something we needed to keep, because we've missed it when he's been injured especially against these mid blocks like Sunderland and Crystal Palace. He was there for that. But against a few of those mid-block sides, Brentford as well, they can push you up and they can squeeze the space. And because we don't have as much threat in behind with someone like Jackson we had last season, or Delap because he was injured, it makes it a lot easier for them to squeeze and get tighter to our pocket players, which then makes them more redundant. And it's a knock-on effect through the pitch. As soon as Delap comes back, now, yes, he's actually quite poor against Wolves in terms of the touches, and he had a few sort of loose touches, didn't do anything of note. But again, even just his making those runs to occupy defenders and force Wolves back, what you actually saw was Wolves starting a bit more of a mid-block, but quite early on they succeeded to more of a low block, because they knew that Delap was going to occupy that space and continue to relentlessly make those runs in behind. So even just having him on the pitch, it's one of those things that it plays with the opposition, and it's something that's on their mind. I agree, of course, we want to see more from him in terms of goals and actual sort of GA that will come from that. And I do think that will come with just time. I think he's been out for so long. I think he's going to need a few games. I mean, he's obviously had a few now to sort of really get that rhythm back and get to match fitness rather than just sort of getting minutes in his legs. But I 100% agree. And I think that it's a brilliant partnership to have him and João Pedro, if you can have them playing off of one another, because João Pedro can benefit from the space when Delap does run in behind. And that's when you'll see a lot more from João Pedro, that we've seen the quality that he can bring in terms of not only playmaking, but also creating for himself and carrying us up the pitch. So the dynamic between them two is going to be really important as we move forward. And against Burnley, for example, I expect to see both of them together, João Pedro in the 10. I was just going to say, up front. So that could be another big game where, because it's, again, when we're talking about Delap occupying defenders, it's also about in the box. If he's in the box against these lower block teams and balls are coming in, even if he's not the one making the first contact, but he's attracting central defenders to him, it allows João Pedro to do is attack as the secondary attacker, which is something he's far better at. And he's still 6'1", he's still good in the air, his timing to arrive on those crosses is still very good. And if Delap is occupying the defenders, taking them away, it can often mean João Pedro has a much better chance of making the first contact.
Wasn't it West Ham? Was it the West Ham game that they combined together?
No, I think the West Ham game, Delap held it up and Estevao sort of played off him, didn't he? And then the Enzo goal. But that was that's the game this season where we've seen that dynamic to its best degree, in my opinion, where Delap is playing on that last line. He's holding things up. He's allowing João Pedro Estevao to sort of link play off of him. And then he's doing his job, but almost as a sacrificial lamb, because he's not going to be the one who gets the praise for that. But in my opinion, I came out of that West Ham game with a lot of praise for Delap. And that just goes to show, I think, what people are looking for with their centre forward.
No, 100%. Max, thoughts on Delap before we go into some super chats? You're also looking forward to this guy. Come on, now it's time to kick into gears. Like, you've been with Chelsea for a little while. I know there's adaptation time, and I know he's been injured as well, but time to really now start to put the hard yards.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because I think, while I agree with you, I don't also think it's just down to Delap. Like, I think, especially in the last game I watched when Delap played, I think historically, like we've had a few good ones like Costa and everyone, that we had Hazard and even Tammy Abraham to some extent. But I think we do struggle at times to play with a traditional number 9. I think I always say this, but I think there's always this thing in the fan base as well. And when I go and watch games and stuff where it's like, we play with a number 9, play with Delap, and it's like, right, we need to get the ball in the box. And then we never cross it for some reason. Or, when João Pedro plays, it's like, but we need a number 9, we need a striker, So it's just like, because Delap doesn't drop deep and get involved, and he could probably do better at that and more of that. But yeah, it's like it's this weird thing for me where like I think he does need a run of games in the team as a striker. So not only he can maybe get some confidence, and hopefully score goals, but that he can get more familiar with his teammates, because we need to start creating chances for him. For me, he's hardly had any clear-cut chances. I know he's not played loads of games, but the ones he has played, don't really remember any time where I'm like, he's had a great chance there, or something's been created for him. So I don't think it's just down to Delap, because he does make these little really good darting runs as well, these little disguised runs where no one really picks him out. And I think, again, that just comes down to familiarity with his teammates, and hopefully he can get a run in the side now as the number 9 and really sort of, get familiarity with his teammates. I don't think it's just down to him. I do rate him, though. I think, he's got all the fundamentals to be a top striker. I think his ball striking is ridiculous. I think he's quick. I think he's strong. A lot of people say he's not good aerially, but again, I haven't really seen it. I haven't really seen a whipped ball coming in the cross and Delap having that, perfect time to attack it. I haven't really seen him heading the ball too much. So I don't think we can make a judgment on that too soon. So yeah, let's just see him play, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row, and then let's not properly judge him, because that would still be way too soon. But let's then have a better idea on what he actually is with our team, because I think we struggle at the moment to create chances when he's in the team. And as I say, I think that's an historic issue. I think we're always looking for that number 9, that pure traditional striker, bar obviously the few that have succeeded. But I think some of the others, it doesn't always come down to, they just flopped, they just, it comes down to teammates as well, system. And yeah, let's see, because from what I see at the moment, I think we play better when we have a 9.5, someone that drops deeper, can open up spaces for runners in behind as well, wingers, because we've got quick wingers like a Garnacho, for example. I'm not a massive fan of Garnacho, but what he does have is really good off the ball movement. And I think you can see more of that when you see like a João Pedro drop deep and then Garnacho runs off him. I don't know if you see as much of our wingers, do their best when we have a traditional striker. So it's going to be interesting to see how Delap develops within this team.
See, I like what you said in terms of 9.5. I feel like that 9.5 with João Pedro really kicks into gear when there's a Cole Palmer. When there isn't a Cole Palmer, then okay, you can put Estevao there, but then who do you start putting out the wings? It's sort of, too many changes, right? When there's a Cole Palmer, João Pedro, maybe you can have Estevao on the right. You're then, not making wholesale of changes. The reason why I like Delap when Cole Palmer's not around is I feel like João Pedro's game then becomes more prominent. When João Pedro's playing up front and there's no Cole Palmer, and we don't start with Estevao Willian as well, then everyone starts talking down on João Pedro. Oh, what kind of a striker is this guy? This guy can't score, blah, 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 blah. But when you have a Delap, and I hope Delap, it was very interesting what Enzo Maresca said once Delap got that red card. He said, Delap, and I know he tried to backtrack after that. He said Delap needs to play more for the team. Delap is playing for Delap right now. So I just hope that Liam Delap, after this international break, a little bit more settled, a little bit more, time to rest and recover and whatnot, and get more, fitness under his belt. Delap, start playing for the team. Do you know what I mean? Like, the goals will come. You start playing for the team, the goals will come. You don't need to just play for yourself. Link up with João Pedro. I feel like if Delap and João Pedro can get this combination right, this could be a devastating situation for the opposition. So, especially for oppositions that want to sit back, like your Burnleys or other teams that want to sit back. So, let's see what happens.
The thing is with the combination. It doesn't have to be a combination where they link up with each other on the ball. They don't their combination can very much be what we've seen slight sort of bits of already, where they've got a combination of Delap is creating space for João Pedro, even without having to give him the ball. So I think that the relationship is more than them linking up, sort of passing to each other. And just to touch on the last little bit of Delap's aerial ability and what we haven't seen of him yet, and sort of knowing when to transfer that. I think I think this was mentioned earlier on about Semenyo, is when you're trying to sort of project, especially at these elite teams where you're playing a lot of lower block defenses and defensive schemes that are not going to come at you very often when you're playing at sort of lower tier teams or teams that don't have the same expectation, what will often be sort of mulled around the scouting rooms and scouting sort of scene is what are the attributes that you can attest for. And I think the one thing that I always loved about Delap, and I know quite a few other people sort of in the industry love about Delap, is he is an engagement striker. He's not afraid to so you haven't seen him against these low blocks as such, but what you do know about him is he's not afraid to get stuck in. So if that ball goes into the box, he will attack it, and he has got the physical presence to make that work. And that in itself will draw players towards him, and then that will allow other people to thrive around
to thrive around. Others to find space. Just to go back to your point that you said, it doesn't necessarily need to be link up. It can be sort of off the ball work as well. And I had a sort of image in my head straight away. I think it was Cole Palmer's second goal against PSG in the Club World Cup, where João Pedro made a run. And Cole Palmer had the ball, and then all of a sudden it just opened up. Everything just opened up because João Pedro made the run, and the defenders went with João Pedro. And Cole Palmer sort of felt a little bit surprised as well. Well, it's just opened up. He was sort of probably looking to feed João Pedro, but it just opened up so nicely. And I think these are some of the things that Delap can do for João Pedro as well. Making those runs and opening up those space for João Pedro.
Sorry, Miz, that's what I'm talking about, though. Like you're saying, but you're just describing their relationships. And I don't know how João Pedro and Palmer had that relationship or found that relationship so quickly on the pitch, but they did. It looks like they really did. They were finding form together, and they're almost really close as well, in terms of, off the pitch and stuff. I saw when João Pedro, can't remember who he scored at Tottenham. He scored against Tottenham. And Palmer in the Instagram comments was let them talk type thing, where it's he's heard the criticism, and they're really close for new teammates. So I think you see this as well. When Enzo played deeper against Wolves with Garnacho, link up there, playing for the national team and stuff in the past, you can see they have that connection, and we need more of that. And that's why I'm saying, if Delap doesn't score, scores 1 or in the next 4 games, or doesn't score, whatever, let's see why he doesn't score. Is it because he misses chances, or is it because he's just not getting involved in the play? And if he's not getting involved in the play, is that just down to him, or is that down to the team? Is that down to the manager? I don't want to see, because I'm a fan of Delap, and I think we do this sometimes. It's especially with strikers. It's they haven't scored, they must have been shit. They're not good enough, or something like that. Relationships. He needs to play a run of games to find those relationships, and hopefully with Palmer coming back, with João Pedro playing more together, then we can start seeing relationships on the pitch. Because at the moment, I think it's harsh to say Delap just scored, because he hasn't had any time. Some of it being his own fault with a red card or whatever, but injury wise, he hasn't had the time to really Like it almost feels like it is a new signing, but like a newer signing. Like we haven't really seen that much
we
of it.
barely used him. We barely used him.
Yeah. So let's give him a chance, and obviously let's criticize him if he misses easy chances. But for me at the moment, like I'm saying, needs to form relationships because I'm not really seeing him get loads of chances in front of goal.
No, 100% agree. And this is what I'm saying. Maresca was saying, play for the team, and the goals will come. All right, let's do some super chats to wrap things up. Gauthier, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Imagine in your dressing room, imagine eating a 3-course meal. I'm pretty sure you meant meal, not meal, and paying 16K for that. Lol. Eunice, you had me crying. You can say that again, please. Must have been something that Eunice said during his segment. I don't recall exactly, but my man, thank you so much for that super chat. At 106192, appreciate the super chat. I think we'll go for Yildiz as he can play 10 left wing, as we couldn't get Simmons as he's a similar profile. Under 21 and wage would fit our structure. Yeah, look, we are linked. I've seen, PYS putting all of this aggregated news, and Yildiz's name does pop up every now and then, but I don't think I've seen any strong links. I don't think I've seen your Fabrizios or your Ornsteins talking about these sort of links as yet. So whether we do any type of business in the January in the likes of, a 10, a left wing, I don't think so. Maybe in the summer we'll explore it. But I hear what you're saying. Like, we were looking for Simmons. We didn't get him. We're looking for someone else in the similar sort of mold, but we'll see. Yildiz obviously is a fantastic player. Doing deals with some of these Italian teams are not always the easiest thing as well. Richie CFC, thanks so much for the super chat. When everyone is fit, what everyone's Chelsea best 11? Oof. Just quickly, when everyone is fit. So obviously, with what we have, Robert Sanchez, Levi Colwell, Wesley Fofana, Cucurella, Reece James, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Estevao, Cole Palmer. Would I go with the left wing now? Garnacho and João Pedro up front. That would probably be my 11.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything different?
Just to go in, I think that's pretty much exactly what I'd have done. The only thing I will say is I'm quite boring when it comes to these conversations because my caveat will always be it depends on the game and like the dynamics within that. So obviously we can say what's your best starting 11, and I think what you just said is if we're going sort of man for man in each position, that's probably exactly what I would do. But in certain, there's like, if you then gave me the context of, right, you're picking your 11 for the game against Burnley and everybody's fit, it might differ to the game against Arsenal. So like, I can be boring in those conversations, but to sort of speak about that, it would be, I'd agree with you in terms of name for name.
No, I agree. I know what you mean. Like, it's horses for courses. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of a generic one, Max, would you have it any other way, your 11 when everyone's fit?
Do I dare say it? That's the question. Do I dare say what's on my mind?
Just say it, bro. Just say it, bro. Rattle it.
Someone in the chat said it. I would swap Enzo for that. Yeah.
Right. Okay,
I think I don't know. I just think, as a partnership, if we're playing a 4-3-1, let's just say how you learned it out. I would fully fit. I would say Lavia over Enzo, but I know that's definitely unpopular for sure.
It's probably unpopular because he's injured all the time.
Probably.
If he was actually available on a regular, it might not be so unpopular. As much as I like Enzo as well, but we know what Lavia could be. The potential.
I'd rather play a 3-man midfield, to get them all in. But if we're just, he's only who would you pick as a partner for Caicedo fully fit? I'd have to say Lavia.
Lavia, yeah. there's only that many players that we can select. Abdullah, thank you so much for the super chat. Who remembers spoon, knife, and fork? What happened? Oh my God, yeah, that's an old joke. Back in the days when the show was on Matisse's channel a long time ago. I think his name was Sun Sup Bell. I don't know where this kid is anymore. Yeah,
he went to
we used to call him.
Released.
Yeah, he went to Spurs, but I don't think he's with them anymore, is he?
No, I think he got released or left not long after he joined. Not sure where he's playing now, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, spoon, fork, and knife. Yeah, he's no one knows where he is anymore. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show. It's been a fantastic episode once again. Before we wrap things up, make sure you guys subscribe to each and every one of our channels. Give Max all the love. He's going to kick things off in YouTube. It's been a pleasure. His channel link is in the description. I want each and every one of you guys that are live right now, subscribe, and that are going to watch later on. Please make sure you subscribe. And Connor as well. This guy, as CB said, one of the best representative. Like all along this episode, I was thinking this guy's our VAR. Whenever we want to validate something, validate a hypothesis or a concept, we go straight to Connor and go, Connor, what do you reckon? So this is how much value he holds in the fan base. So make sure you guys follow Connor as well and everyone else in that list in the description. Before we go, Max, what we got coming up? Like when are we going to see the channel pop off? Like when's content going to flow through?
Yeah, man, great to be on. Hopefully I done okay. It's my first time, I think, ever with Facecam doing something.
You killed it.
Smashed
You killed
it.
it.
It's very weird. Obviously, there was a lot of people on the panel as well. I didn't, probably talk as much as I could have, but no, I mean, it's been a great episode. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed, and big up to the live chat as well. Appreciate the support. Hopefully I'll try and talk more next time, but yeah, we're going to be doing me and Con as well. Con CFC on Twitter are going to be starting the channel Chelsea Central, which is our playback channel. We're just moving over to YouTube, and giving YouTube a little run. So we'll have a Chelsea Burnley reaction up, and then I'm going to be vlogging the Barcelona game, which should be crazy. That'll be a crazy game. Really looking forward to going to that. So if any of you want to watch more Chelsea content, then Chelsea Central is the name on YouTube. We have done one vlog, or I did one vlog a while ago for the Club World Cup final. But yeah, we'll have regular videos going up on there. And just be kind, guys. It's my first time doing Facecam, so appreciate everyone.
Come on, bro. Come on. Nah, you've been fantastic. Don't worry. We'll hook something up. I hope. I knew you're going to be a little bit maybe with so many people, but I made sure that now I've got to go to Max all the time and see what he has to say. So hopefully I've been able to give you a bit more airtime as well. And moving forward, we're going to be linking up a lot more, man. Don't worry, I'm going to be linking up with you. Hopefully on your channel, you're definitely going to be coming on my channel, and maybe down the track, who knows? Maybe us three, we could have a podcast down the track. Who knows? Connor, what you got coming up, man? You're doing some big stuff. What's the next big thing that's lined up?
Yeah, like I said, I had a mad week last week, so I'm sort of just resettling in again, sort of getting back to my own stuff on my channel. International break will be over, so that'll be nice to start getting fully back into the content. But I had my stuff sort of set out at the start of this year. I wanted to hit 10K on YouTube, and we're nearing 8K. So everybody that's here really would appreciate all that support to get me to 10K. But yeah, just anything you want analysis-wise, I'm doing quite a big video in the next few days about Chelsea's out of possession scheme, because I think it's quite a big topic in terms of how we press man for man or zonal, etc. So yeah, if you're into anything detailed analysis, stuff like that, then check out my channel. But yeah, thanks again for having me. Massively enjoyed it. And as you said, Max, I thought you smashed it as well for your first time on camera. So big up.
Ladies and gentlemen, get Connor to 10,000. That is the target. Let's get him to 10,000. The views on this, like All You Can Eat Chelsea, and I've always said, and this is why I've always thanked Matisse for building something with his two hands and then giving it to me. And the views that we see on this show is incredible. So please, each and every one of you guys, go and support Connor and get him to 10,000. I know it's easily done, so make sure we get that done for Connor. But yeah, until next time, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon. Obviously, with me, we'll have the watch-alongs back again, and all sorts of shows. Matisse will be back next week as well. Chelsea Aftermath, lots of things that are going to pop off. So yeah, thank you so much. Smash up the like button, and until next time, take care. See ya. Bye.